We got Captain Marvel spoilers coming in 3, 2, 1. What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Will, and I'm here to give my spoiler review for Captain Marvel. If you are watching this, hopefully that means that you have watched my non-spoiler review, which there is a link in the description below that you can go watch first before jumping back in to hear about all the juicy spoilers from this movie. And there are a good amount of spoilers. So this movie does, like I said in the previous video, take place in the mid-1990s. So this is pre-Iron Man, pre-MCU, pre-Avengers, whole nine yards. Nick Fury is just an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. He is not the director. The director is actually played by Ben Mendelsohn in this movie, but Ben Mendelsohn does double duty as the villainous Talos. Or is he a villain? He is not really a villain in this. He does play a Skrull, which is the shape-shifting bad guys of the Marvel Comics. And in this movie, the Skrulls aren't really the bad guys, which was very surprising. That was kind of one of the big twists of the movie, is that Ben Mendelsohn plays their leader, Talos, and it is believed that the Skrulls are coming to Earth to invade, but it's really not a secret invasion story. He comes to Earth basically looking for Annette Bening's character, who originally is introduced to us in the movie as the Supreme Intelligence, but the Supreme Intelligence as a being of who helps rule over the Kree homeworld takes the form of whoever is most relatable to the person that they're talking to. So in this case, Annette Bening plays a former Air Force scientist that worked with Carol Danvers. Now, in the movie, Carol Danvers does not have her memory. The whole point of the movie is that she's trying to discover who she is. Annette Bening's character is actually Mar-Vell, who was the original character of Captain Marvel in the comics, but they kind of did a gender bending thing, which I really liked. So Annette Bening plays Mar-Vell, and her relationship with Carol is that she is a Air Force scientist who's trying to develop a new type of light speed engine in order to improve space travel. So Mar-Vell is hiding on Earth and meets Carol, and Carol helps Mar-Vell test her ship. At the same token, they're attacked, the ship blows up, and that's how Carol gets her power. Originally, when we first watch this scene play out, it plays out from the false memories that Carol had, where it looked like she was being attacked by a Skrull, and Mar-Vell was protecting her. In this case, it's not true. It's actually Jan Rog, who is played by Jude Law's character, who is the one who actually shoots him down and tries to get the power source that Mar-Vell was developing. And that in that instance, Carol tries to protect Mar-Vell, but Mar-Vell is shot by Jan Rog. Carol destroys the engine, and it causes the energy to explode, infusing in her body the energy source. Well, not the energy source, but the energy itself, making her essentially a superhero. So when that happened, Jan Rog takes Carol back to the Kree home world. They brainwash her and then turn her into a Kree warrior. And that's basically when the story really picks up at the beginning, because Carol starts seeing flashes of her old life, and the whole story is about her trying to recover her memory. So one of the big changes was that they turned Mar-Vell from a man to a woman, because originally when they were talking about the movie, Jude Law was said to have been Mar-Vell, but he in fact was Jan Rog. So it was like, well, it's Mar-Vell in the movie, and it was kind of a cool little twist to having Mar-Vell be Annette Bening's character in kind of this gender bent way. And I thought that was a really nice twist of the movie, and I really was happy with that reveal. Going back to Talos, I know I just kind of took you to Mordor and I'm coming back to the Shire, but going back to Talos, Talos was working with Mar-Vell in order to protect some of the Skrull refugees, because the Kree were just trying to annihilate them. Talos is a good guy, really just trying to find his family, which he does, and it's really sweet. And it's an interesting twist, but it's an interesting twist, But the main reason I think that twist happened was to kind of explain where Carol Danvers has been. At the end of the movie, she agrees to help Talos find a new homeworld for the Skrull refugees that they had around Earth. So Carol leaves Earth, and that's where she's been pretty much for the last almost 20 years. Until Nick Fury pages her because of the events of Infinity War. This movie does a lot of setup not only for previous MCU events, but also for what we're going to get in Endgame. One of the weirder ones, which was is a cute little reason, but then it's one of those moments like, how did Han Solo get his last name? Was how Nick Fury lost his eye. And if you remember from Winter Soldier, Nick Fury told Cap that the last time he trusted someone, he lost an eye. The person who took his eye was Goose the cat. It's not really a cat, it's actually I forget the name, but I'm going to put the species of alien that he is. He scratches his eye for some reason, and that's pretty much why he wears an eye patch, was because the cat was having a hissy fit and scratched his eye out. Anyway, like I said, it was one of those weird moments that didn't really do much for the film, but answer a question that most people really didn't need answered. But anywho, like I said, this movie had a lot of 90s nostalgia, and it has a Stan Lee cameo in it. And actually, I almost forgot. The beginning of the movie, the typical Marvel fanfare logo that pops up, usually it has all the comic characters on it. This one was different because it was just all images of Stan Lee until it formed the Marvel logo, and it just said "Thank you, Stan" afterward. And I thought that was really sweet and a very nice little tribute to the late great Stan Lee. I wonder if I'm curious if they're going to do something similar in Endgame. He does have a cameo in this movie because they had filmed a number of cameos for him, I believe through Spider-Man Far From Home. So we will see him in Endgame, and we will see him in Spider-Man Far From Home. After that, I don't believe that we will have any more Stan Lee cameos. This one was very special because not only for showing Stan Lee, because there was a moment on the train scene that's in the trailer when she punches the old woman. She's looking around the train and she sees someone practicing lines for a movie, because this takes place in LA. And I want to say the movie was Mallrats, because I briefly saw the name on the thing. And I believe it was Mallrats because Kevin Smith, there's a story online where he's sobbing like a baby. And because it was Stan Lee had a cameo, I believe, in Mallrats, and then they were solidifying that as canon to the MCU. And it was really sweet because he kind of looks up at her and Carol just smiles and keeps walking. So I like the cameo. It wasn't as good as the cameo he did in Into the Spider-Verse, but I thought it was a really sweet cameo. I think the twist with Jan Rog being the villain of the movie wasn't too shocking if you read the comics, but for a moviegoer, it was probably very surprising. However, because the Skrulls are such natural bad guys, I was waiting for that double turn, because I was like, is he lying or is he being truthful? So maybe because I was waiting for something that didn't happen, it kind of messed up my own visual pacing of the movie. So that might have been my fault, but I was surprised that they went that route. I was thinking they were just going to all be revealed to be bad, and the only ones that she could trust are the people on Earth. But I was wrong in that one. There are post-credit scenes to this movie, one big one that has very high ramifications for what's happening in the next movie, in Endgame, and another kind of comedic one. The power source that I forgot to mention was actually the Tesseract. So it kind of comes full circle by including an Infinity Stone into Captain Marvel. Now, the Infinity Stone, I don't believe, is what they're saying is responsible for her powers. However, the power source on the plane that crashed and when she blew up the engine that she got imbued with the power source itself was the Tesseract. So the Tesseract does make a cameo. It's kind of being believed that Captain Marvel's powers came from the Tesseract, similar to how Scarlet Witch's powers came from the Mind Stone, or were unlocked by the Mind Stone. One of the books has just said that her powers were more so hers, and the Mind Stone just unlocked it. So it's possible that Carol Danvers' powers were always inside of her. The Tesseract energy just kind of unleashed them. It's hard to and that's where it gets a little confusing if you start reading in between the lines where, wait, how does this match with that? And then that's kind of one of the confusing points of having a prequel movie to an established universe, and you have to kind of battle with standing on your own, but having to keep up with continuity. I'm already confusing myself. However, let's talk about the two post-credit scenes. The first post-credit scene is of Goose the cat, and he basically hawks a hairball up on Nick Fury's desk, and just happened to be the Tesseract because the cat eats the Tesseract midway through the movie to help keep it safe. So I thought it was funny because it's just a cat hawking up a hairball that just happens to be an Infinity Stone. I thought it was funny. The post-credit scene, though, that I do want to talk about, there is a scene that clearly is a scene from Endgame. It features Cap, Widow, Bruce Banner, and Rhodey. They're all looking at the information coming in about the event after the decimation, and looking at all the totals of people who have disappeared, and they also have their hands on Nick Fury's pager, the pager that was given to him by Carol Danvers at the end of the movie, that she said she souped up to contact her in the case of an emergency, and only for an emergency. She made that abundantly clear, like only for emergencies, because remember, this is before anyone else. So in her mind, she was Earth's protector. When they cut to it, the battery went out, it stopped transmitting, and they're like, we need to get this back up. We need to figure out who this was going to, because Fury called this in for a reason. We need to know what this is. And then the second they say that, they turn around and Captain Marvel's standing right there. And she's like, where's Fury? And that's how they cut it. So it's very reminiscent of the post-credit scene from Ant-Man, the first Ant-Man, where it's Cap, it's Sam, and it's Bucky. And they've got Bucky in that weird vice thing, and it was literally a scene right out of Civil War. So I'm very curious if this scene is going to be in Endgame, or if they're going to kind of retool the scene before they actually show her. But it was basically her standing in kind of a updated version of her suit and just asking where Fury was. So that, I don't know if I guess it reveals her first introduction into Avengers Endgame, and I kind of hope it's not, just because it was slightly underwhelming of a reveal scene. I kind of would have hoped it would have been something a little bigger. So we'll see how that pans out. But that scene, if it is exactly in the movie, kind of like how the one from the post-credit scene Ant-Man was in Civil War, it'll be very interesting to see if they kind of retool it a little bit like they did that scene. But I thought that was a really big WTF moment in terms of, like, oh, she's back on Earth. She got the call. Let's go. There's a couple of little things. There's a little nod to how Fury comes up with the Avengers Initiative. Apparently Carol's call tag was Avenger. That was kind of dumb, but I was like, that's cute. They played the theme. I thought it was good, but it was still kind of dumb. But again, there's a lot of little 90s nostalgia, a lot of references, a lot of clothing choices, phrases that were used, which were good in some spots and okay in other spots. The humor was there, just like in every MCU movie. The jokes did land here and there. They weren't all gems, but again, this movie's not all gems. But it does have a lot of implications. We got our reasoning why she left the planet, where she's been. So she's been out trying to help the Skrulls find a home planet. She got the call. She's back on Earth. We're ready to roll right in the Endgame. There you have it. So I think that's about everything I can remember. I want to say, yeah. Yeah, in terms of references, that's most of them. Most of the big ones anyway. I am excited to see how OP she is when we get to Endgame. So there you have it. Those are kind of the top spoiler reveals, implications that we can expect for Avengers Endgame that we got from Captain Marvel. I know I'm missing a couple. If I am, comment down below. Let me know some that you caught that I didn't. And let me know how you think they're going to tie that post-credit scene into the actual movie. Are we going to get kind of like what we got from the post-credit on Ant-Man and Civil War for this one into Endgame? Let me know what you thought, and also let me know what you thought of the movie as well. This is the spoiler one, so you guys can definitely go full barrage in the comments. Again, as always, you can follow me on Twitter at DGeekWill. I do thank you so much for watching this and my non-spoiler video. Please go back and watch that video if you haven't, but if you watch this one, I wouldn't have watched this first. I would watch the other one first. Anyway, you watch whatever you want to watch, but thank you so much for watching this video. As always, I'll catch you on the next one, and catch you later.